In my last video, I showed you guys how I made my Ironman helmet, and in this video, I'm going to go over and make a stand for it so it rests up on the table, or if I have like a bookshelf or wherever I decide to put it, it's going to have a stand, so it's going to be standing straight up like this, so it's not going to be laying on the table at an angle and keep putting strain on this pack and stuff. And all I simply did is I was going to use scrap wood to make the actual base or the stand, but I didn't have any at the time. I ran down to the dollar store or the Dollar Tree, it's near me, and I bought a couple pieces of wood and then a soccer ball. So this is one of the pieces of wood I bought, just an oval. This is going to be the base plate. And then I bought these two these two pieces of wood, and I'll go over the measurements after I'm done going over all this stuff. And then I did pick up this squishy soccer ball thing, and what I did it off camera. I actually cut it in half, so this is going to be on inside the helmet as one of the pieces that's going to connect to the helmet, and I'm just going to change position with the camera. Alright, so these are the pieces. The soccer ball, got the piece of wood. I'm just going to measure this out real quick so you guys can see what it is. So these pieces of wood are exactly 1 foot long by 1.5 inches wide, and I got 2 of them. And then I also got this piece of oval, which is almost 9 inches by 5 inches, and this is going to be the base plate for the actual stand. And I already measured with the helmet, and these pieces of wood are going to be a little bit too long for the actual helmet. It's not going to be long, but it's going to have the helmet risen up a little too high where I wouldn't like it. So I'm just going to cut these down real quick, and I'm going to say, sorry about that, I'm going to cut it down to probably about, I'm gonna say to cut it down 3 inches, and I'll get right back to you guys once I cut that off. I just cut them off. I did mess up a little bit. I put down a couple different lines, but I accidentally just started cutting on one of the lines I wasn't going to cut. But this is going to be inside the helmet, so no one's going to really see that. I did cut off 3 inches off of the 12. So it's 9 inches long for the base. And these 2 pieces I'm going to be gluing together. So they're going to be stuck together like this. And it's going to sit in the middle of this base plate. And then this soccer ball that's cut in half, I'm going to be gluing, oh, you can't see it in the frame. I'm going to be gluing it on the top like that, so the helmet sits right on top of that. And all I'm going to use is, I might use a little bit of super glue, but I think I'm going to mainly be using my hot glue gun. It is currently warming up right now, and I'm going to just end this real quick, and I'll be back in like 5 seconds. Alright guys, while we wait for the hot glue gun to heat up and get ready, I'm gonna actually start measuring and finding the center of this piece, so then once the hot glue gun is ready, I can be able to mount this to this, and we'll go from there. Like I said, it is 8.5 inches long by 5. And let's see how thick these are. It's probably 2 inches. Oh, it's 1.5 inches by just about 1.5 inches, I believe. Yep. So these put together, it's 1.5 inches wide and 1.5 inches across. So that's pretty sweet. So I just need to find the center of this. Get you guys back on camera. So I grab a pencil. Half. So 5 and 3.5, right? So what I did is, because it's 8.5 on this side, it's solid on 1 on this, I'm taking that half, so it's a 1.5, and then 1, 2, and 3 inches. Same with the other side, so it'd be 1, 2, and 3, and then the other half of the inch. So there's 1.5 inches in between. So I know that this right here is the center from these sides. So now I need to get the center on this side to be able to make a box. So now, because I know that's there, so it's going to be mounted somewhere around here. Now I just need to find the same amount of space on both sides of this way, and then we'll find the exact center. So it's probably going to be it's not really going to be exact center. Because this is an odd length, it's not going to be exactly in the center of the box, so I'm just going to eyeball it around where the markings I just made were. Where's my... where? So I'm just going to like straighten these lines out. So I know that's the center on both sides of this. And I'm gonna say that looks good to me. Because it's an odd amount, so I'm just going over where the line it is to be the exact center, and I'm just putting a little bit over, so it should be the same amount on each side. But don't take my word for that, because I'm not that smart. 1.5 inches. Oh, just about 1.5 inches on both sides. So this is the actual center, and I can also now erase these fuller lines so it doesn't show underneath the helmet. I'm not going to erase the box because the wood is actually going to be mounted on that, so shouldn't be able to see those lines anymore. But I'm just getting rid of these lines because I don't want to see that on the other side. And the hot glue gun should be up to temp right about now. Yep. And we are just gonna tape these together real quick. I lied. We're not gonna tape it. I'm gonna put some hot glue on it. Hot glue is gonna work out with me today. There we go. And then we're just gonna put it flat on the bottom. And now this is centered. Alright, it should be good to be able to glue it. So now I'm just gonna put a whole bunch of hot glue on the bottom, and I'm gonna put it inside this square. Actually, I'll just do it on this piece. And it don't matter if any squeeze out the side, because I will just go over it with a X-Acto blade. Just neaten it up. Looks good and looks good. Alright, and now it's perfectly in the center. So now all we gotta do, let this piece dry on the bottom, and then I'll be able to take this half a soccer ball. I might use super glue or hot glue for this, but this is gonna be mounted right on top. And then this piece is actually gonna be inside the helmet. So the face shield will be right here, this will be inside it, so it has a little bit of grip. And it also has more of a surface area to be able to hold instead of it just being on this small little piece. At first, let's get that out of the frame. At first, I was thinking about paper macheing over this. Like if I was to do that, how I would go about doing it is what I would do is I'd put a piece of duct tape or something on this to hold it so it don't move. And then I would cover the entire thing with all of this with Vaseline, because the paper mache won't stick to the Vaseline, but it'll still be able to hold that shape. But I would cover this all in Vaseline, and then on paper mache, you mix equal parts of water and flour together, and you stir it up. Then you just get strips of newspaper, you dip it in, get all the extra off, and then you start applying it all over, and you make sure everything's covered, and you make sure all of it is equally covered, so it's not higher here, lower here, or certain spots or don't have anything, like it has a little hole in the side. Just cover the entire thing. Once it would be done drying, then it would be hard, so you can just go like this, pop it right off this, and then I would have a shell mold of this. And what I would do is, because I could get rid of this, and then I could take that and either put more over it if I hold it up to a light and see the light through it, or if it's like a weaker in one spot, I can just keep adding more until I think it's good. Once I think it's good, then I will be able to, what I was going to do is getting a piece of like foam poster board stuff and getting the same size, cutting it out, glue it to the bottom of this piece, of not this one, but the actual paper mache of it, and then that will be able to sit right on this with the ball on top of that. But I'm not doing all of that because one, I do have another half of that ball, and two, I don't know if I'm going to be making another helmet after this project. I think I might do something else, but I might make a helmet in the future, so that's why I'm going to be keeping at least one of these, half of the ball, and the other one will be for the Ironman helmet. And I think that should be good. So now we're just going to put the hot glue on the ball and stick that to this, and then we'll be able to, this stand will be all set. If I wanted to, I could paint this, but I don't think I'm going to paint it because I kind of like how it looks, just like this plain wood. I might touch up a little more and get all this pencil mark off with the eraser off camera, but no, I'm just gonna, we'll do it to this. The hot glue gun is definitely warmed up a lot more now. The more we have on top, the better, because then it will be able to push through and onto all of this. And now we're just gonna try to get it as much as we can in the center, which I think that should be it right there. And now I'm just gonna apply a little bit of pressure onto this so it can seep into like all of the little holes and like try to get more contact to be able to stay glued. And while that's drying, I'm just gonna move the camera a little bit more so it gets the shot a little bit better. Just give me a second. Like that. And now the helmet, once this is done drying, this Ironman helmet is just gonna go straight over like this. I'm gonna put it on the side of it, but it'll go over straight down like that, and that ball will be resting on the top of the helmet. So it'll still have probably about 2 inches, down here showing, probably like that much, and then all of this, and this piece is gonna be inside the helmet. So anything up here you won't see until you take the helmet off and you see that. But I'm gonna wait for it to dry. I'm gonna, off camera, I'm gonna touch up all these little pencil marks right there, and then I'll get back to you guys once it's done. Alright guys, I tried erasing as much as I could, couldn't get all of it off. I might hit it with sandpaper later, but I'm just gonna call it quits now, and it's done drying. Now I'm just gonna move the camera back a little bit more, and now because this is glued on, so now it's staying on there. Now this is gonna go inside the helmet. I'm gonna do that right now. Might take a little bit of angling in there, and there we go. The stand is done, so now it has no weight or anything on the bottom, and now it's done. So that's what it's gonna look like. It has clearance underneath all the way around, and now if I wanted to, I can prop this either like on a bookshelf or on a table or anything. But if I open this up real quick, open the shield up, you guys will be able to see a little bit more and better on like what everything looks like inside there. So now that ball is rested inside there, underneath, up against the servos, and that foam block that I have in there for the top of my head. And I can either leave this open to prop, but I think I'm just gonna keep it closed.